The first whisper came on a Tuesday, a cold, blustery night. The kind of night where the wind seems to carry secrets, and the darkness feels alive with unseen eyes watching your every move. Wind howled through the trees, their skeletal branches swaying menacingly in the dim glow of the streetlights. The eerie sound of the wind seemed to whisper through the branches, creating an unsettling symphony that played on my nerves. I walked quickly, pulling my coat tighter against the chill. The street was deserted, not a soul in sight. The only company I had was the relentless wind and the occasional flicker of the streetlights, casting long dancing shadows on the pavement. Then I heard it. My name. A hushed whisper, barely audible above the wind. It was so faint I almost dismissed it as a trick of my imagination, but there it was again. Clearer this time. I stopped, heart pounding. My breath formed wispy clouds in the cold air. The whisper seemed to wrap around me, sending chills down my spine. I felt a sudden urge to run, but my feet were rooted to the spot. Silence. Had I imagined it? I strained my ears, listening for any sound. The wind continued its mournful wail, but the whisper was gone. I felt a mix of relief and disappointment, as if I had missed something important. There, a rustle in the bushes behind me. I spun around, peering into the darkness. My heart raced as I scanned the shadows, half expecting to see a figure emerge from the gloom. Nothing. I chided myself for being paranoid. It was just the wind. But the feeling of being watched lingered, gnawing at the edges of my mind. Still, a shiver ran down my spine. I quickened my pace, eager to reach the safety of my apartment. The night seemed to close in around me, the darkness pressing in from all sides. Kwame. The next night, the whispers returned, more persistent than ever before. They seemed to seep into the very fabric of the night, wrapping around me like a cold, invisible shroud. My street, usually bustling with life, was eerily quiet. The streetlights flickered, casting long, dancing shadows that seemed to move with a life of their own. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves or the distant hum of a car engine. I gripped my keys, their sharp edges digging into my palm, a small comfort in the overwhelming darkness. My name echoed around me, carried on the wind, a haunting melody that sent shivers down my spine. Closer this time, more insistent. Panic welled up inside me, a cold, creeping fear that threatened to paralyze me. My heart pounded in my chest, each beat a deafening drum in the stillness of the night. I broke into a run, my footsteps the only sound breaking the silence. The rhythmic thud of my shoes on the pavement was a desperate attempt to outrun the whispers that seemed to follow me, growing louder with each step. Glancing over my shoulder, I thought I saw a figure shrouded in shadow, lurking at the edge of my vision. It was there, just beyond the reach of the flickering streetlights, a dark silhouette that seemed to pulse with malevolent intent. My apartment building loomed ahead, a beacon of safety in the oppressive darkness. The familiar sight of its worn bricks and dimly lit windows was a small comfort, a promise of refuge from the encroaching night. Fumbling with my keys, I finally pushed through the door and into the dimly lit hallway. The stale air and flickering lights were a welcome change from the oppressive night outside, safe, for now. But the whispers lingered in my mind, sending chills down my spine. They were a constant presence, a reminder that the night was not yet over. Sleep offered no escape, haunted by nightmares of shadowy figures and disembodied voices. The darkness seemed to seep into my dreams, turning them into a twisted reflection of my fears. I knew I couldn't ignore this. I needed answers. The whispers, the shadows, they were more than just figments of my imagination. They were real, and they were coming for me. Kwame! The name slipped from my lips, a desperate plea for help in the face of the unknown. The old woman lived at the edge of town, in a ramshackle house shrouded by gnarled trees. Locals called her Crazy Maggie, whispering tales of her strange ways and unsettling knowledge. She was the only one who might have answers. Her eyes, sharp and knowing, studied me as I explained the whispers, the fear that clung to me like a shroud.
The whispering shadows. They haunt this town, seeking lost souls to drag into darkness.
She spoke of ancient spirits, restless and vengeful, drawn to fear and despair. My blood ran cold. The whispers, the shadows, they were real. And they were after me. Days turned into nights, each one more terrifying than the last. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, surrounding me like a chorus of the damned. My name echoed through my dreams, jolting me awake in a cold sweat. I saw them now, fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures lurking at the edge of my vision, always watching, always waiting. Their eyes, cold and empty, seemed to pierce through me, filling me with an icy dread. Fear became my constant companion. It gnawed at my sanity, leaving me a prisoner in my own home. I knew I had to do something. I had to confront the shadows. Kwame, as for Kwame. I returned to Maggie, desperation clinging to me like a second skin. The weight of unanswered questions bore down on me, each step heavier than the last. My mind raced with thoughts of what could be done, what should be done. The fear was palpable, almost suffocating. "What do they want?" I pleaded, my voice trembling. "Why me?" The words echoed in the dimly lit room, bouncing off the walls and returning to me with no answers. I felt a chill run down my spine, the kind that makes you question everything you thought you knew.
She looked at me, a flicker of pity in her ancient eyes. Her gaze was steady, yet filled with a sorrow that seemed to span lifetimes. It was as if she had seen this all before, countless times, and knew the weight of the burden I now carried. "They feed on fear," she said, her voice barely a whisper. Her words hung in the air, heavy and foreboding. The shadows seemed to grow darker, more menacing, as if they were listening, waiting for their moment to strike. "They sense your terror, your vulnerability. You must fight back. You must confront them." Her words were a lifeline, a glimmer of hope in the overwhelming darkness. But how could I fight something I couldn't see, something that thrived on my deepest fears?
She handed me a small pouch, its contents rattling softly. The pouch felt ancient, worn by time and countless hands before mine. It was a tangible connection to a past filled with secrets and hidden knowledge. "This will protect you," she added. Her voice was gentle yet firm, instilling a sense of calm amidst the chaos. I clung to her words, hoping they held the truth I so desperately needed. Inside I found a mixture of herbs and dried flowers, their scent strangely comforting. The aroma was familiar, evoking memories of safer times, of moments when the world seemed less threatening. Maggie instructed me on a ritual, an ancient incantation to ward off the shadows. Her voice guided me through each step, each word, as if weaving a protective barrier around me. The ritual felt like a dance between light and dark, a battle for my very soul. It was a long shot, but it was all I had left. With the pouch in hand, and Maggie's words echoing in my mind, I felt a flicker of determination. I had to believe that this ancient wisdom could save me, that I could find the strength to confront the shadows and reclaim my life. That night, under the pale glow of the moon, I stood in the center of my living room. My heart pounded against my ribs, a drumbeat of fear. I clutched the pouch in my hand, its contents a source of both comfort and trepidation. Following Maggie's instructions, I arranged the herbs in a circle on the floor, their pungent aroma filling the air. I lit a candle, its flame flickering nervously in the stillness. Then, I began to chant. The words felt foreign on my tongue, ancient and powerful. As I spoke, the shadows seemed to draw closer, pressing against the edges of my vision. The air grew heavy, charged with an unseen energy. A cold wind swept through the room, extinguishing the candle and plunging me into darkness. Panic threatened to overwhelm me, but I continued to chant, my voice growing stronger, more determined. Suddenly, the shadows coalesced, taking on a more defined shape. They circled me, their forms shifting and swirling like smoke. Their whispers filled my ears, a cacophony of voices, each one calling my name.
Whispering, "Kwame, Kwame!"
I met their gaze, my fear replaced by a strange sense of resolve. These shadows might have haunted me, tormented me, but I would not let them break me. "Leave!" I commanded, my voice echoing through the darkness. "You have no power over me!" The shadows hesitated, their whispers fading slightly. I poured all my fear, all my anger into my voice. "I am not afraid of you! I shouted, hurling the pouch of herbs into the heart of the swirling shadows. There was a blinding flash of light, a deafening roar. I shielded my eyes, my body trembling with the force of the blast. Then, silence. I lowered my hand, my heart pounding in my chest. The shadows were gone. The whispers never returned. The shadows faded into memory, a chilling reminder of a time when darkness threatened to consume me. I never knew what those entities were, what they wanted, but I had faced them, and I had survived. Still, sometimes, late at night, when the wind howls outside my window and the shadows grow long, I imagine I hear a faint whisper, my name carried on the breeze, and a shiver runs down my spine, a primal fear that lingers long after the shadows have retreated. The silence, once a welcome reprieve, now holds a new kind of unease, a constant reminder that some things once encountered can never truly be forgotten.